Hello and welcome to week 10. In this demo, I thought I've actually posted something like this before out on the web, but I guess I didn't. So I'm going to show you how to create tasks within TFS. So within week 10, in your group assignments, you'll have to set up a task, assign a task, and so forth. So there's some things I thought I showed you, but it might have been my other class. So let's pretend this is week 10, which it is. So we'll create a new project. And so based off your group, so you want to call it, I'm going to call it CIT 135. I'll call it group 6, which doesn't exist, week 10. You'll want to make sure that you choose Agile. And instead of choosing Git, you want to choose TFS and click Create Project. Right, so it shows that the project was created. I'll hit Navigate Project. What you'll want to do is you'll want to have users. The only user I have right now is myself. So when you do this, click Exit right now. When you do this, you'll have your team members. So what you'll want to do is, let's say that Team 1 has Bob Smith, Bugs Bunny, and Roger Rabbit. You'll want to click this and add your user. So whoever is in there. So as you see, I have CIT 135 and 130. So I'm going to add 135 to this as well. So now I have two different users, even though they're both me. I click that. The next thing I want to do is we want to set up work. So we'll go to work and we'll have iterations 1, 2, and 3. So it'll be iteration 1, that features and stories. So what we're going to do is we're going to do storytelling. So right now it's pretty simple how the first thing that you want to do is add your tasks. So we know in our requirements document, pick your topics. So we know applications. So maybe the first task is, this might be something that is assigned to the PM or Scrum Master. Will be, could be, let's say, let me think off the top of my head. This could be group effort. We'll put group for everybody, and choose an application topic. All right. So now we assign that one. Well, we set it up. The next thing is group might be assign roles. So that's basically those roles. We'll get into detail in a minute here on that. Then we'll do group, and maybe the other group effort might be to let's see here, assign roles. I guess that's a good start of it. And here, if we double click on this, we have different things, unassigned, stuff like that, and we'll talk about that in a minute here. So for right now, for this part right here, is group effort. Group needs to communicate on what topic they want to do for this week's assignment, since it's a group effort. All right. So then we'll hit save, and we'll close out of here. Same thing for her, assigning roles. Group needs to decide who will be the product owner, the Scrum Master, QA, and developer. So I guess with that said, based off the amount of people in the group, so if I go back here real quick, let me see who's in announcements. Jeez. All right, group CIT 135 has 4 groups of at least 3 people in there. So everyone is basically going to have that same role. So for example, you're going to have you're going to be a developer first, second, say product owner. So product owner is a person who enters all the tasks. So that would be something that I'm doing right now. This is the product owner. And you're a developer too, so you're going to be developing. Second person would be also a developer slash Scrum Master. What's a Scrum Master? He or she is like the project owner, project project manager. So his role or her role will be to submit this week's assignment, communicate to everyone in the group to ensure that we are all on the same page. Oops. The third person will be your developer slash, well, we already have a developer slash developer, we can have that, so a QA person. This person will review the source code to ensure no errors or help identify issues. And then for those of you who have a fourth member, which I think is only one team, that person will be developer slash what's the word I'm looking for? Geez, I can't think of it. Floater. So his or her job is to help the product owner, the PO, the Scrum Master, and the QA. All right, so I'll hit save on here, kind of give you an idea how that works. All right, so now let's pretend that let's pretend that we've already picked a topic. We know what our topic's going to be. I'm the product owner. I'm going to create it. So this will be iteration 1, and in iteration 1, we're going to think about how to break it down. So so let me think here. 1 second. All right, so what we're going to do is here, this role right here is going to be, we'll call it, let's see, whichever is an easier way of doing this. Let me think, sorry. All right, sorry, get back to this. So the next thing would be to create the project, which has already been created in here by now. So the project manager is going to do that, but we'll put that down as a task because it's already been done. Create project, project in TFS. So that'll be assigned to someone, but it's already been done because here we are. Create project in TFS, and then we start actually talking about the code. So when we start our lecture, so we need to create a master detail flow template applet. So in this case, we're going to have to do the starting page. So we're going to say we want to kind of break it down a little bit. So we know that we have to add images to the folder. We need to add text to string table. So maybe that would be the first thing. All right. So add images to drawable folder. So we know that is a task that has to be done. We know that your strings, string table, we'll just put string table needs built. Let's see here. So what else do we need? Just kind of thinking about it. We know that we need different XML pages for our table layout, XML file that details the plane. So we'll probably, let's say that we need to create a, let's call it layout. So we know layout, create, we'll call it photo, XML. Another one we need is a layout, just kind of throwing something out there. Create, say we're doing, I don't know, a tour. So we'll say tour, well, let's say trip. Right, the trip.xml. So we need that. Let's see here. We need a web view widget, text view widget. So create text view widget layout. All right. Let's see here. We need what else? Create manifest file. create dummy content class. Can't spell. For website. These are just things I'm thinking about. That's part of what we need. Let me look through here and see what else we need for this. All right, so I'm back. All right, so I need to come up with ideas. So if you follow the design in the book, it talks about building the bikes and barges, if you follow through it. So if I was building that, I'm just going to go here and just looking at that, and I wanted to use that as an example. So let me remove some of these. Hold on. Let's delete these and start over. Sure, delete. I want to kind of follow what they have in the book here, and I can use that as a better example when you're setting these up. So we have like a real life thing to work on. All right, delete. All right, so we know group, create project in TFS, add images. That's fine. We do need that. String table needs built. Let's see, string table, styles. So let's do this. No. No. All right. All right. So now layout. So we need a. We'll do layout like this, and we'll do create activity item detail. Layout. Create activity. Like spell right. Item list. And these are all XML files. Create fragment item detail. All right. Great. Oh, I did that. So now we have those layouts done. Now we know the drawable and we know the string, so we also need an icon. So I'll just do create IC launcher, set your icon stuff. Now we need to create create dummy content. That's for the website. So maybe just categorize as website. Alright, so the other thing is we need our Java files. Java, and we'll just say create item detail activity. Java, and I like to try to categorize so you have an idea of what it is. Create item detail fragment. What's nice about it is when you set these up, you have a really good understanding of what you have to do to have stuff created. You'll know how your project will list. And then you want to manifest. So we know it's well. Let's create manifest. Now we need QA. So QA person is going to basically test this application. He or she is going to run the application and look for things. So we know in the end of the application, if you look on page, let's see here, what page do they have the actual application completed? I think they have it on the first page, matter of fact. All right, bike and barge. So you want to make sure everything fits properly. So maybe QA person will ensure, maybe first check will be evaluate. Will be different tests that he or she will have to run. So maybe storyline 1, let's see if we put that in QA. Evaluate, well, evaluate's a bad word. Test application executes. Maybe QA will be test application objects. QA test application something. So you get the gist here. There's a lot of stuff here. So as you see here, I created like maybe 20 different user stories. Now, the key is when you create the task here, you need to assign them to somebody. So, all right, so we know that these manifests need to be created. So another thing is when you double click on it, you want to sometimes put a description here and assign it to someone. And then also, in addition to that, you want to have priority and story points. So priority is how important is it from 1, 2, 3, or 4. So you'll put those points on there. The risk of it is it high? We'll just put medium. You need to know how much time it's going to take. You know what? Before we do that, let's hit save real quick. What we need to do is we need to evaluate the person's time that they have available. So what we need to do is you want to set the iteration date. So you'll want to set the, so if you click over here and do set dates, you'll want to set when the date starts. So we'll call this sprint 1. Spring 1. We'll do the start date of, which is, we'll say the 4th. And we'll say that will be completed by the 10th. You'll do save and close. So now you'll see here that you have sprint 1. You called it. Up here it says April 4th to the 10th. Now you need to do is capacity. Now I know this is a class, but if in real world, you'll have more people here. So right now I only have me. So I put down, if you have more people, you put, okay, what role are you playing? I'm playing developer. What's my capacity per day? So what you do is you put how many hours. So let's say hypothetically, let's say that we're doing Monday through Friday. That's 5 days, and there's 40 hours in a week. And let's say that, I only have 4 hours a day. That means I only have 20 hours. So it takes the time that it's going to take you to complete it, and it evaluates how much time you have in your thing. So capacity per day, I'll put 8 hours. Okay, so right here automatically says, because I'm running a 7-day cycle, 7 days, and it says I have 56 hours of development time. Perfect. All right, so I'll hit save. And then you also put team days off. If there's other people, you put the days that they're off as well. So let's add another person, because we're going to add the other Jeffrey Seaman, the 135. Add user. And we're going to say he is design, and let's say he's only going to have 4 hours. You see the time now, it says 28 hours. So he only has less time. All right, so now we're going to go back to the backlog, or the sprint 1. Stories. All right. All right, so why is that like that? Oh, because I need to put it in sprint 1. Right now it's just stories. So if I come down here, I need to assign it one thing, assign it to this guy, but also you could write assign 2 tasks on here. There's a lot of things you could do in here, which is incredible. Hit save. But that's user story 44. 1 second. What we need to do is move it, because right now we need to do iteration and move it to sprint 1 and hit save. So we'll want to do that to all of them. Close. I should close out for you automatically, but it don't. I'm not going to go through all these. I just want to kind of give you an idea how this works. Sign it, Jeff. Save. Close. All right. So we know we got something going here. There's a lot going on here. So let's go to board. And we see this guy right here. Let's find one that we can actually work on. So this guy right here, you could drag and drop and say it's active. And you'll see that the time over here, this is the burn down rate. It'll show you the burn down cumulative flow. So you can see how your team's working on stuff. Let's say that, I create something out here as well. There's a lot of different things you can put out there. So now it's active, and then I'll update it as I go, and I'll put how much time I have left on it. So in this case, I might come in here and say, working on application, almost finished with source code, blah, blah, blah. All right. So then I'll hit save and so forth. Then when I'm ready, say it's already completed, I'll move it over and resolve or close. Now I know that I've completed that task. Now if I come to my burnout chart, you'll see it's a little bit different. Shows that this percentage is closed and this portion's active. QA will follow up, and then let's say that this becomes a bug, and I fix it. I'll then put it over and resolve, saying that, hey, you know what, it's been resolved, and then I'll move it over and close once it's done. So in a nutshell, that's your user stories. You know where your source code's at? Just go to code, and you'll have your code in here. If you have problems linking up to TFS, you can also add the files manually this way. You'll have your change sets here, which will show anytime something's been done. Build, we're not going to work on that in this class. That's a whole different can of worms. Test only works is if you've actually have tests set up. We don't want to have to go through that as well, so we're just going to leave that as is. And thank you for listening to this video, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Please, thank you.